Hey, what's up? Facebook family and the art of powerful alignment. It is great to see you. Lucy's here as well. I was going to bring her up and say hello. Lucy, come here. Come here. Come here. No, she doesn't want to come up, but I wanted to welcome you guys. This is a spur of the moment Facebook Live post that I feel is going to benefit you tremendously because of the fact that a lot of clients have been enrolling in my program, and this is the number one thing. And then I noticed that, whatever I'm working on with a client is what I have to be consciously aware of as well in my own life. So this is something that I really want you guys to really get, because everybody has to deal with this issue in relationships. Everybody has to deal with this challenge when we're trying to relate to other people. Why is this important? And it's important because how we relate to each other, how we relate to our partners, has a serious impact in the richness of our life, has a serious impact, not just richness. I'm not just talking about financially. I'm talking specifically in your health. And when most people, what I've observed, simply can't be real with their partners. And there was one client that I have been working with, and she simply can't be real with her partner, and she withholds the truth so that she could avoid triggers. And what happens is that there's a burying of a resentment towards him. And what happens is we then go seek relationships outside of that situation so that we can then finally be real, because we've made up a story that we can't be real in our relationship. So if we don't get this right, you run the risk of affairs. You run the risk of seeking, things and approval outside, sedating yourself, because we just don't know how to state what's so. And so I want to teach lately, what I've been teaching as part of the modules in my Powerfully Aligned program is to teach people how to actually become real within their relationships. So just let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know if you have any specific questions you have about this. I can weave into the talk. But I really want to give you this clarity by the end, exactly what you can do to have authentic relationships, because essentially that's what we all want, isn't it? We want to be able to love somebody, and we want to be able to be ourselves in that relationship. And we also want to be able to and that other person also wants to be able to be real with us and not feel judged and feel loved for exactly who we are. So this is going to get you there. And I'm working on it myself. I stumble, I fall. I've been through a divorce, been through some relationships. So I'm learning from a first person's perspective, as well as being a coach, helping people get powerfully aligned. So the first reason why you can't be real with your partner, reason number one, you have no mission or purpose for the relationship. Okay, number one, you don't have a mission or a purpose for the relationship. You just expect it to, just be happy. Like the purpose of the relationship, you think it's just to make you happy. And that's not really what it's about. There is a purpose. And if you haven't made a declaration what that is, first of all, in your own life, what's your life all about? What purpose are you serving on this planet? Why are you here? And if you don't know the answer to that question, then I highly recommend you to get to learn and get to understand what that is. That's the first thing, is you don't have a purpose. You don't have no mission and purpose. If you get this right, then what happens is you're connected to your higher self. You then have the other person connected to their higher self. And so you know what that person's committed to. You know what you're committed to. When you both know what you're each committed to, you can help both yourselves and each other get to where they want to go. But first, you got to be real with what your mission and purpose is and the purpose of the relationship. Without really identifying what that is, we could create these delusions and expectations for that person to live according to our values, or we could create a delusion of ourselves, which I just got off the phone with a client who basically realized that he was living in the delusion that I should value the relationship, when in fact, his highest value was the business, and the relationship was a conduit to getting his values met with the business, which I can relate to because I am in a relationship right now where my highest value is this work that I'm doing, is coaching and transformation and healing and expansion of my business. And that's my highest value. And I have found a beautiful relationship who is going to be an incredible conduit, who is with Amanda, who's an incredible conduit for me to get exactly what I want out of life. And I'm consciously aware that I can be the conduit for her to get exactly what she wants out of life. And so when both people are real with that and they're connected to the mission and purpose with themselves and the relationship, you now have an ability to get more real with each other. The second reason why you can't be real in your relationship is because you are disempowered, because you're not connected to that number one mission, that North Star, and you're subordinating to that other person. If you don't have empowerment in all areas of your life, if you don't have a strong social network, if you don't have strong family dynamics, if you haven't empowered yourself financially, if you haven't empowered yourself spiritually and mentally, and you're just focused on a couple of things, you've disempowered yourself, and you attract somebody in your awareness to overpower you in those areas where you've been disempowered. When you're disempowered, you fear the loss of that person. You put on a mask to avoid them being triggered. And what ends up happening is that in authenticity, they can feel you can't stand within yourself. You got to sedate yourself with being with someone else or with drugs, alcohol, whatever, to sedate yourself from the pain of the inauthenticity that you can't be real. So my suggestion is to learn how to stop subordinating. You start to see that other person not as above you or whose approval is necessary for you to feel good about yourself, but as another human being with a set of values who has their own triggers as well. And you got to learn how to deal with them, which leads me to my next point, which is this is why you can't get real in your relationship, is because you haven't identified your dark passenger. You haven't identified your triggers. You haven't identified exactly what it is that sets you off. And when it sets you off, what story you're making. Usually it's, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not, I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. Really, it comes down to, I'm crazy. I'm stupid. Whatever voice that your little dark passenger says, guess what? Your partner does too. And if you don't identify that, and if you don't learn how to manage it and how to really be able to be aligned within yourself so that you can be the cause in the matter of that person's assistance and transformation, what ends up happening is their triggers end up triggering you. And then you get triggered, and then they get triggered that you're triggered, and it just becomes this mess until somebody learns the tools to be able to manage themselves. And so most times my clients will say things like, well, why can't they be the one to be there for me? Well, I only work with the people that are deciding that they want to be the badass and take it on. They want to be the one to take on that role of becoming that powerfully aligned individual so they can actually transform everybody around them. And the people who enter the program and they really do the work actually see and feel that those around them have changed. And it's like, wait a second, nothing has really changed. It's just been me that's changed. Everybody else I've been able to really see from a different perspective. And I've been able to get real and take off the mask and really be there when my realness doesn't really jive with them, and it doesn't make it mean that I'm not worthy of love either. And the last, that last part basically, so number one was you don't have a mission and a purpose. Number two was that you're disempowered in your values and you're subordinating to that other person. Number three is that the reason why you can't get real is because you haven't identified your dark passenger, that little voice in your head, and you don't know exactly how to manage theirs. And that's why you can't be real. And so why else can't you be real is because, so what do you do? What to do? The answer is to invest in a mentor, to find the capacity to extract and create within you the capacity to be able to, first of all, know what your mission statement is. Know exactly why you're here, and really identify exactly why your partner is here as well. And really be able to create a mission for the relationship. How many of us take the time to actually do that? Not too many. When you do that right, when you get into triggers, you can see a higher purpose for the relationship, which gives you the inspiration to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it, especially when you want to make that other person wrong. You want to make yourself right and that other person wrong. Having a mission or a purpose with the relationship actually makes a difference. Disempowered and subordinating. The reason why you're disempowered and subordinating is because you have some stories of past traumas, past resentments that haven't properly been dealt with. You're really angry. You're extremely upset. Things that are unresolved, you keep running into. Your partner's designed to shove them all in your face, to look at them, to see what can I do to love myself more, to love myself deeper. And without the proper tools and the guidance, you then keep thinking, oh, this person's not the one. This isn't the one. The chances are the person that you're with is the one, because they're the one that you're with right now, and you can make anything work if you can see it as on the way. And the reason why you aren't in a good place with that individual is because you see them as in the way. But by having the right mentorship to transform that perception, you get aligned with your power. You know exactly what your next move is, because most of the time you're stuck in a career or relationship limbo. You don't know what the heck's going on. So it's important for you to get clear on exactly who you are and why you're here, what your dark passenger is trying to say, why you've been subordinating, what triggers that they bring up in you that you haven't yet resolved. And brother, sister, you can't do this alone. This is not something that I can do alone. This is blind spots that are huge, that if you don't actually work towards completing, your entire relationship, life, finances, health can be destroyed simply because you haven't taken the time to educate yourself and learn, find the right guide and mentor to be able to help you. So I'm looking for two people who have been stuck in relationship limbo and they feel that they can't be real with their relationship. Send me a private message and let's have a conversation and see what the truth of the matter is. And if you're actually ready to change and to have an incredible relationship, first with yourself, by loving the parts of yourself you're trying to run away from. And then the second part is how to then have it not only with your partner, but with your kids and everybody else in your life. And I look at my life, and last year I was in a place where I was feeling all alone, and I realized I had disconnected myself from everybody because I was living inauthentically. And I was trying to be somebody that I'm not, and I was trying to prove something because of stories that I made up in my own head. And I just discovered that it is so much more fulfilling when I learned how to take off the mask, get into communication and get real, and then all of a sudden start to see a major transformation. And now we are June the 8th, and I am actually having my best year ever, where all of my dreams, not only just kind of like with relationships, but my career and my friends and my social network and the types of relationships that I'm having with my parents, they're actually becoming so much more authentic. And so I did that because I took the time to really find the right guide. So I'm talking to two people over the next couple of days who are actually feeling stuck in their limbo in their relationship and are wondering, what the hell, why can't I be real? And they really want to learn. They really are actually committed to letting go of abandoning their victim story and actually getting real. I would love to talk to them. Are there any questions? I'm here. I don't see any questions here. Are there any questions that you have for me that you'd love for me to answer? I'm here for you. I'd like to actually, Dr.Nima.com. I'd like to invite you, those of you, I do 5 shifts with my clients. I take them through 5 specific shifts that get them from feeling sick, stressed, and stuck in relationship and career limbo, that concept of will I be okay, that anxiety, that transitional anxiety of what's my next move. I figured it out after going through a divorce and going through a career change. It's pretty amazing what can happen when you get yourself aligned. And I show you some case studies as well on that. Go into Dr.Nima.com and just watch the training. watch the webinar training of how I do it. It's 55 minutes long. It's incredible. And then if you want, you can reach out to me. But if you actually really want to talk about it right now, send me a private message, and I would love to reach out and set up a time and see why it is that you can't be real in your relationship and exactly the strategy that you need to take in order to learn how to get real. Hopefully that has been of use to you, and I look forward to helping you. Please, let's continue the conversation in the thread underneath. Tell me why you feel you can't be real in your relationship. Hey, Mimi, I just saw pictures of you, Mimi. You were at Amy Lynn Meraki's thing. I was like, Memers is there. God bless you, Memers. Love your content too. You're up to some big things. Please send me a private message. Anybody who really, really wants to learn or see why they can't be real. What is the lie that they're holding on to? And then what the trigger of that lie is. It happens because of a story that you have about mom or dad, or a trauma that you've had, and it has to do with rejection. Always has to do with rejection. That's the trigger of your dark passenger. I figured it out. I'm figuring it out after going through a divorce myself, helping many people transition through their divorces, get back together, or split apart with power. If that's you, send me a private message. I'd love to be of service. God bless you. See you at the next perfect time.